Hey guys, welcome back to Katawa Shoujo. In the last episode, uh, Emmy finished her run, and we went to the nurse's office, and and then after further inspection and after some talking, uh, Emmy and Hisao hugged. So that's a thing that happened. We didn't get a visual of it happening though, but whatever. Just a close up of Emmy to the screen. Anyway, strange that it feels so natural for me to go up to the roof these days. I never would have done such a thing at my old school. In those days, I liked to eat alone. No, that's not quite true. Though I like to sit alone, I also like to watch people. I always figured that was the sort of person I was, but it appears I was wrong. Then again, I also thought I was the sort of person who had a normal heart, so there you have it. I don't know myself that well. Now I'm on the roof so that I can have lunch with a couple of people. And they are both girls, which is even stranger. Oddly enough, I feel closer to Emmy and Rin than I felt to anyone at my old school. Somehow I got the feeling they'd at least visit me if I wound up in the hospital. I focus on the view from the roof, banishing such thoughts from my head. There's a light breeze blowing, and the sun is shining high in the sky. The sky itself is a deep blue, with hardly a cloud in it. It's gotten pleasantly warm, and as I sit down to wait for my friends, I close my eyes and enjoy the feeling of the sun seeping into my skin. Voices intrude upon the edge of hearing. Seems to have fallen asleep on us, Rin. Maybe he's faking to lull us into a false sense of security. Why would he do that? No idea. Still, you make a good point. We should kick him or something to make sure he's really asleep. Oh, what? Amy looms over me like only a short girl can, peering at me intently. Oh, you're awake. I guess we don't have to kick you then. Was it part of your master plan? What are you talking about? Emmy shrugs, her twin tails bouncing with emotion. I'm not sure either. You must be pretty tired to fall asleep out there. Out here. Bleh. Although it's pretty uncomfortable. What? Pretty comfortable, I suppose. She plops down next to me and begins to eat. Rin sits opposite from the two of us, a move which only makes me more aware of the girl sitting next to me. If I didn't know any better, I'd swear Rin did it on purpose. I concentrate on my food, trying to tune out the majority of the conversation that Rin and Amy are having. Despite my best efforts, however, I still find myself glancing over at Amy whenever she speaks. I notice how she pursues her lips when she's thinking of something, squinting slightly as if that would improve her thinking ability. Rin says something that makes Amy laugh, and I notice perhaps for the first time how she laughs with her whole body, rocking back and forth, head thrown back, almost like she's about to fall over. I probably look like a creep. It's about this time that I realize Amy's looking at me, her voice raised slightly, so she's probably just asked me a question. Huh? Sorry, I kind of zoned out for a moment there. Amy rolls her eyes. While a slight quirk of the eyebrow is the only sign that Rin's even paying attention. I said, did you get a career survey in your class too? You know, one of those, what do you want to do after high school things? I don't think so. Maybe we'll get one tomorrow. What are you going to put down? That's a really good question. I guess I always figured I'd go to college after high school, but I have no idea what I'd do once I got there. And with the heart attack and all, I'd really been concentrating on each day as it came rather than making long-term plans. I suppose I can safely start planning ahead again. I've always liked having at least a vague plan for my future, so it'll be nice to come up with one again. Of course, that doesn't change the fact that right now, I've got absolutely no clue. I always kind of assumed I figured it out in college, that or just become a salary man. That's pretty popular. But do I really want to? That's a tough question. I guess I don't really want to do anything. You don't sound very excited about that one, do you? She laughs as she says this, and I'm caught up in her laugh again. It's so girlish, high and giggly, like a, well, pardon the cliche, like a babbling brook. It bubbles out of her, starting in her belly and working its way up throughout. I can't help but laugh myself, it's infectious. Yeah, I guess I'm pretty unhappy with the salaryman idea. But to be honest, I haven't given much thought to the futures recently. I suppose that these days I've been more concerned with living one day at a time. Amy considers this for a moment and grins. Grins. That's a pretty good idea, Hisao. I just wrote down pirate. What? Pirate? Alright. I'm momentarily stunned, and then I started laughing. I stopped myself and managed to gasp out a question. You're not actually serious, are you? Amy looks much offended. Mock offended, not much. Yeah. Well, I've got the legs for it already, so I just kind of figured. Even Rin seems amused by this. Just you wait, I'll be the terror of the high seas. I'll show you all. I've been working on my pirate voice. She suddenly springs up and begins swaggering up and down the rooftop shouting orders. Yar, me hearties, give 'em a broadside with the long guns. We'll wear their guts for garters. Do you even know what that means? Vern's unexpected interruption stops Emmy in her tracks. Not really. But it's all in the delivery. The ringing of the bell prevents her from demonstrating her point further. Emmy dashes off immediately, leaving Rin and myself on the roof. Rin stares at me intently for a few moments. Is there something wrong? Rin considers this question closely for a moment. After a lengthy pause, she shakes her head. Nope. Oh, why the staring then? Rin shakes her head again. Nope, I don't get it. Get what? The staring thing. You two seem to, but I don't. Great, she saw me staring. Now she probably thinks I'm a pervert or something. Actually, probably not. This is Rin we're talking about after all. Still, I feel the need to defend myself. I wasn't staring. I was just tired. Rin actually snorts at this, but she doesn't say anything. No, really, I was just distracted is all. Eager to end this conversation, I head back down to class. I'm greeted by the twin inspectors of Shizune and Misha, looking like the mean business. Well, Shizune looks like she means business anyway. Misha just looks like she's about to start laughing at any minute. Up on the roof again, Hichan. You know that's dangerous, don't you? That's right. The school cannot be held responsible for any injury that comes from being up there, you know? Furthermore, we could report you for breaking the rules. Misha leans in and whispers conspiratorially. But we won't, Hichan. You three are too cute together. She straightens up again, laughing at my sudden blush. Wahahaha. You're too easy to tease, Hichan. Hey, come on. I'm still new here, sort of. Isn't it mean to become a newcomer like this? Nope. It's to help you get acclimated to your new surroundings. I see. Well, do you have to be so overzealous about it? Yep. That aside, Hichan, we were looking for you this morning. But you weren't in your room. Of course I wasn't. I was out of my morning exercise, or here in class bright and early. Unlike you, Shizune looks peeved and a beat later, so does Misha. Or she tries to, at any rate. That was because of student council business. You should be grateful that we work so hard for you. Oh, I am. So what did you need me for? Not another attempt to rope me into to do the dirty work, right? I hope. We had to give you something. But since you weren't around, we dropped it off in your room. Something? Like what? Well, you'll find out when you get back, Chan. Mucho entering the room ends our conversation, and we all and we all head to our seats. It's only after I settled down at my desk and the teacher started talking about something, or after that, something odd strikes me. What did Rin mean? You two seem to... Was Emmy staring at something too? For a brief moment, I considered the possibility that Emmy was staring at me the way I was staring at her. Of course, that's ridiculous. Still, I can't deny that I wouldn't mind if it were true. But if it's best not to think of that. No need to get my hopes up. Come to think of it, when did I start having hopes like that anyway? I shake my head in an attempt to clear it and focus on the lesson. After class, I make my way to my room. Muto really piled on the homework today. Before I can open my door, however, I am suddenly intercepted by Kenji, who has just exploded out of his own room in a flurry of papers. Hey, we need to talk. These rooftop shenanigans of yours, man. You gotta stop. What? You're running around on the rooftop with the limbless wonders. They're women, man. You'll get yourself killed running around like that. I don't follow. Kenji sighs and adjusts his glasses before what could be understood as an attempt of explaining himself patiently. Look, we're friends, so I'm telling you, this is for your own good. But if I were going to kill someone, I'd do it by throwing them off the roof and making it look like an accident. And if I've thought of it, you can be sure they've thought of it too. They're crafty, almost as crafty as I am. I see. Good. I'm glad we had this chat. Loan me 500 yen. What? I'm sorry? I need to get a drink, man. I've been inside all day and the tap water's been compromised, as I'm sure you know. So I need to stock up on something. Canned, got it? But to do that, I need 500 yen. But since I've just saved your life with my timely advice, you can at least spare me 500 yen. You know, if it'll make him go away, 500 yen is a bargain. I hand him money over to Kenji. I hand the money over to Kenji, who nods in thanks and dashes off down the hallway, but not before he locks his door. What an exhausting person. I'd better go in case he changes his mind. Yeah. As I close the door, my heel taps against something lying on the floor. It's a brightly colored rectangle of paper. Ah, this must be the something Misha mentioned before. Probably a student council leaflet she slid under the door. However, when I pick it up, I find that I couldn't have been more wrong. Someone actually wrote me an old-fashioned handwritten paper letter. Who bothers doing something like that in this day and age anyway? Yet as unlikely as the prospect of receiving one sounds, this is definitely a letter I have in my hands. I was planning on finishing my homework, getting some dinner, and going to bed in order to be ready for tomorrow morning's run. However, the letter has naturally caught my interest. I sit at my desk to examine it properly. Sunflower? That's the first piece of mail I've received here at Iwanako. So it feels special, even if it wasn't something as rare as a handwritten letter. What causes me even more trepidation is the name of the sender, written neatly on the back of the envelope. Iwanako. I have no idea why she would write to me. I haven't been in contact with anyone from my old school since I transferred, and Iwanako is the last person I expect to want to write me a letter. Why is that? You were together. Well, about to be. The last time I saw Iwanako was terribly awkward, embarrassingly so. She came to my hospital room, peeled me an apple out of courtesy, and then we practically sat in silence for half an hour. She said goodbye and didn't look me in the eye when she closed the door. It might have been a natural end of the series of visits that were probably pretty meaningful for both of us. Every time she visited me in the hospital, I wanted to talk to her, but something stopped me every time. Every time that I didn't speak made the next time even harder. She looked so guilty that I didn't want to say anything that I might upset her, and I never could figure out the right words to say. I think Iwanako blamed herself for my heart attack. That's ridiculous, of course, but knowing it and believing it are two very different things. I told her that it wasn't her fault, and she nodded, and I really think she understood that if I hadn't been that, then sooner or later something else would have made my heart give out. Yes, She looked so hopelessly sad every time she opened that door and entered my room. So I never managed to say the things I wanted to say in the end. That might have hurt her even more. Carefully opened the envelope and draw out the folded letter from within. Dear Hisao, how are you? I hope you are well. I'm happy at your new skill. Skill? School. Everyone here misses you. Almost all of our second-year class got put together in Class 3-1 for the final year, so we were pretty comfortable right from the beginning of the year. I'm sure you would have been assigned to this class as well. The mood among the third years seems to be very anxious about the final exams, even though they are so far away. The teachers are badgering us about it all the time. Even old Mr. Tachibana, who is, by the way, our homeroom teacher this year. Would you believe it? I was sure that he'd retire after our second year, but here he is, nagging everyone about studying for exams. I think things like that are the main reason why the mood among the third years is so nervous. I must admit that I'm somehow losing confidence in myself as well, even though I've always fared reasonably well in exams. It's so weird to think we are already seniors, isn't it? Time has really flown past. I wonder where it went. The next first years seem so young, and somehow really innocent. I keep wondering if I was like them in my first year. I've been feeling nostalgic like this for the whole first semester. There are other things I want to say. I'm writing to you because I felt that there are things I should have said after the incident back in winter. I really regret that I wasn't able to say them in person, and I have no excuse for it. Yeah, I think I have had quite enough of this. I crumple up the sheet of paper and toss it across the room. What? What do you mean you have enough of it, you friggin' dick? He is! I'm not lying, he is. I wouldn't act like that. Sometimes I wish there was just more things to, like, choose and do, you know? Make it a little bit more personal, but it is a story after all. Anyway, that's it for this episode. I'll see you guys next time for more Katawa Shoujo. There.